Does the Dark Knight rise from the sewer or fall into the ashy water below? Welcome to the Weekend Movie Bros review of Batman vs. the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I am RZ Jones 18, host of the RZ Jones 18 YouTube channel. We will see toy reviews, toy vlogs, and toy hunts. I'm the toy guy, but I'm also the cartoon superhero guy. And so adding the Turtles in the Half Shell to the Dark Knight makes a complementing mesh, but also a fun one. Welcome to the review of Batman vs. TMNT. So, was it 2 nights ago I watched this movie on my own, and I watched it with, Jacob is here, a night and a half ago. And this movie is perfectly described as I have it over here on the bar. Wacky and fun. This film does not take itself seriously. It has fun with what it's doing, which is combining two of the most weirdest IPs together, but having fun with it. The story is very fun. The acting is great on all fronts for everybody. The action is superb when it's animated very well. It does have some slips with the animation, but we'll get to that. And it's got a strong a strong kind of bonding story of showing, Batman that, just because you have people working with you doesn't necessarily make them just a team. Like the Turtles, they're a family. They work better together as a unit. And that's shown throughout the film. So, we start the film off with a really cool heist scene with the Foot Clan trying to get this thing device for a thing called a Cloud Seeder, which we'll talk more about later in the review. And from then on, craziness ensues, turtles meet bats, and mutant snakes and dogs are abound. We'll get to them in a minute. So, this film was directed, I have my handy-dandy phone next to me so I can get everything proper. This film was directed by Jake Castaneda, who has been famous to work on these DC animated films. The writers were Mark, I want to get all these names right. It was based on the comic book by Jason Tyen IV. It was also based on the creators of Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, and Bill Finger and Bob Kane from Batman and TMNT respectively. The writer of this film was Marley Hartling Grazer. The director, Jake Castanova, just to give him some more credit, has worked on Batman the Killing Joke, Batman Gotham by Gaslight, Young Justice, Death of Superman, Justice League Action, and some other worked on other DC properties as well. He's really into working on these DC animated movies. The full cast, we have Troy Baker as Batman and the Joker, so he's taking on both roles this time. Eric Buzada is Leonardo. Darren Criss from Glee and on his own tour currently is Raphael. Kyle Mooney is Michelangelo. Baron Vaughn is Donatello. Carlos Acurado is Bane. Cascarado Ra's al Ghul. Rachel Boom is Batgirl. John DiMaggio is Mr. Freeze. Keith Ferguson is Baxter Stockman Two-Face. I will get into Baxter Stockman when we get to the villains. I loved him in this movie. Brian George is Alfred. Ben Brooks is Robin. Tom Kenny is the Penguin, which is a reference, and the way he looks in the film is a reference to another iteration of Batman. Andrew Kashido as Shredder. Jim Mickelson as Commissioner Gordon. And Tara Strong as Harley Quinn / Poison Ivy. So, let's get right to the cast. The standouts of the movie were for me were Darren Criss as Raphael. Troy Baker as always as Batman and the Joker. Andrew Kashido as Shredder, Brian George as Alfred, Keith Ferguson as Stockman, and then who was the other one? Oh, the guy Eric Buzza as Leonardo. Those were my 4 favorites. Leave Troy Baker for last because it's Troy Baker. Darren Criss. I did not even realize it was Darren Criss in the movie when we were watching it for the first time. My brother told me about it. And his voice as like a stubborn, kind of angry all the time Raphael really worked for me. And I thought overall his direction as Raphael was very good. He was stubborn at times, but he gave the emotional beats towards the end of the movie, trying to get Batman to realize, you know what, we should work together instead of apart. We would do better with this as a grouping rather than solo. I thought it was a great job. Where is he at? Sorry, guys. It's my first real review on the channel. I'm Trying to make sure I get all the names correct and everything. Keith Ferguson, aka the best Jeff Goldblum impersonator I've ever heard. His Baxter Stockman is weird but fun. His Baxter Stockman is tiny because he's a mutant. He's a mutant currently, so he's the Fly. So he's small, which is I guess why I chose him for the role, because he's nodding the Fly with his Jeff Goldblum impression. He's definitely there just for the humor, but his dry humor really worked for me. There's a scene between Shredder and Ra's al Ghul. By the way, I don't know why I said this at the beginning of this movie, at the beginning of this review. Spoilers in this review for Batman vs. TMNT. If you haven't seen it up to this point, I mean, stick around. But if you don't want to, you can leave, because now we're actually really getting into the details of the movie. There's a certain scene between Shredder and Ra's is trying to tell Shredder, "You're building my machine. Good job." And then Baxter Stockman slowly flies up and goes, "Hi, I'm Baxter Stockman, and I've been building your machine." No handshake, okay, and just drops down. Very dry humor. There's another scene with Robin towards the end of the movie where Robin trying to find somebody to fight during the final fight of the film, and he looks at Baxter and went, "You stand proud and defend your honor and fight me as you would." And Baxter's like, "Listen, don't hit me. I'm a hostage. I'm not supposed to be here." Spews his guts out and then falls on the floor and I guess just lays there and plays dead. Really funny. Keith Ferguson was a great job in this movie. Now, we're going to get to Tom Kenny real here. I like Tom Kenny in this movie. It's not my favorite version of his Penguin. Now, what his Penguin is referencing to the Batman show from the CW, Fox Kids, Warner WB animated era, and he played the Penguin on that prominently. His design in the movie is very much like the Penguin from the Batman, so I really appreciated that. So, kudos to Tom Kenny for having a small role in this movie, but he did a great job. Let me try to find him again. Where'd he go? Andrew Kishido as Shredder. This Shredder in this movie, we'll get to him when we get to the villains / allies. But he did a great job in the role. My favorite Shredder I've watched animated wise in a while, since 2012's Ninja Turtle show. Very, very, very good. And then now we get to the obvious two, which are Troy Baker and Tara Strong, reprising their roles as Batman, Joker, Harley, and Poison. The Batman in this movie is one of my favorite Batmans. It's an amalgamation of a lot of Batmans. He's got like the Batman, the animated series vibe with the costume a little bit. I love the blue on the suit. I like how deep his voice is. I like the way that his Batman looks without the cowl on, which we see a lot of him without the cowl on. Yeah, and all four. But it's just. And his Joker sounds a lot like Mark Hamill, which I guess you're supposed to. Very good job with the Joker. I thought it was Mark Hamill the entire movie, but clearly I was wrong. And then Tara Strong as, Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. I mean, what can you say? Goddess is goddess, and she does fantastic work every time. So now we're going to get to the mutants, which is the TMNT side of this story, which are the four turtles, Baxter Stockman, Shredder, and the Foot Clan. That is what I'm calling the mutant side of this scenario. And the TMNT side works so well in this movie. Like, the introduction of the Foot Clan at the beginning of this movie, where you thought was Batman rising from the shadows, but no, it was just a bunch of Foot Clan. And their first introduction into trying to get the component from Power Labs, where Barbara was trying to get some information on it, and then the smoke comes in and the turtles take out the foot, and then so that starts out the movie. About 15 or 20 odd minutes into the film, we get our first, as my brother would say, murder of the movie, and that is when Batman is fighting the Foot Clan in Wayne Enterprises. We're trying to get the Cloud Seeder piece, the final piece of the puzzle, which is the Cloud Seeder piece. And they're all the people in the lab are completely hologenic. They're not even there, and they try to kill them. So Batman's fighting all these people off while the Turtles are fighting Penguin and his goons on top of the building, looking over Wayne Enterprises. And Batman is trying to interrogate one of the foot soldiers, and you just see a throwing star just smash that foot soldier in the head. And we get a scene earlier with some blood, but this is where the blood really comes in. Smacks the foot soldier in the head, and just blood gushes from his head. It was awesome. It caught my brother completely off guard. I knew a little bit about how mature the violence was in this movie, and it's not for kids. When we get to the conclusion, I'll give you my thoughts on the whole watching with your kids process. It's a lot. But Then we get our first real introduction of the Shredder fighting Batman for the first time, and he does like this really cool move where he waves his hands like this, and they start to vibrate, and then he pushes into Batman, and it looks like he broke his chest. It's called the Unagisaki or Unagauriki, something like that. And the move, basically, it channels all your energy into one fatal blow. And he doesn't kill Batman, but you see some blood come down his face, and Shredder gets away. So that's our introduction to Shredder, and beautiful introduction to Shredder. But that leads into the Bat Family side of this story, which includes a bunch of Batman's Rogues Gallery, Alfred, Batgirl, Damian, and Bruce. And Commissioner Gordon as well, ergo Barbara's father, who has a great moment with Michelangelo halfway through the film. And it's before they go to Arkham. And so Batman in this movie, they chose some very interesting things to go with when it comes to Batman. Batman in this movie is very alone, and I get why they did it this way, was to, evoke the fact that it's the overlying theme of the film, family. In this movie, Batman's very much solo. He doesn't like bringing in Batgirl or Robin into the mix because he doesn't want them to get hurt. But he doesn't realize that if they don't work together as a team, then it doesn't work out the way it should. And that's a great overlying story with the mutant side with the Turtles, where with the Turtles, they know they have to work together in order to survive and endure what's going on in Gotham. Which, by the way, I really want to get into this a little quote here. So it was right after they're done fighting the Penguin. I'm back on the mutant side with the Turtles. They just got done defeating Penguin's goons, and he's like, Leo is like, we should get these guys ready for the cops. They're gonna be here soon. And Donnie's like, no, Mikey's like, I love Gotham. It's awesome. It's wacky, and falls on his back. And Donnie's like, Gotham and New York are not that much different, and it's a funny line because it's true. You switch a little red here, less blimps here, add a little New York Empire State Building, and boom, you've got New York and Gotham. I think it's really funny. I think the line's really good. But back to Batman. Batman's very lonely in this film. He likes to do things on his own. He'll talk to everybody, like get what's going on with the project, but he likes to do things on his own. He's the Raphael of his group, and him and Raph butt heads towards the end of the film, talking about being the loner of the group, and realizing that you need people there to support you in order to get things done, and that leads into Batman's support group, which is Commissioner Gordon, Alfred, Robin, and Batgirl. Batgirl is fantastic in this movie, better than the other animated Batgirl we've had in the past couple of years. I'm not mentioning anything, the Killing Joke. Anyway, no offense to the director. Past that point, Killing Joke's great to me. But no, Batgirl in this movie is sophisticated, smart, doesn't drag behind everybody else, but she's still a girl though, because she hates the fact that they call it ooze. It has to be called anti-mutagen, not anti-ooze. She hates that notion. She hates the mutants, the mutant aspect of everything, which I think is really funny. Damien might not work. Someone's like, I agree with the turtle. Stay away. It's really funny. And Batgirl and Robin act like kids in this movie. Like, there's a great scene where all the turtles are racing each other to get to Arkham Asylum, and Batgirl and Robin are like, we don't race, we get where we need to go and just go. But then Robin's like, it doesn't mean I don't want to race though, and he shoots Batgirl shoots a grappling hook, and she swings away, and Robin's like, not till I get there first, and they all start racing together. But this is where you can see the father figure in Batman come out, is because there's a scene where everybody's eating pizza together, and Robin and Batgirl are enjoying the pizza with everybody, and Batman's like, so, do you guys know where such and such thing is with the Cloud Seeder? And Batgirl's like, no, not at the moment. Then that's what you should be doing. And walks away. And then Mikey's like, listen, dude, you really need to have an expository before fight pizza. He's like, there's no time for pizza. And Mikey's like, I've never even heard that sentence before. It was really, really funny. And then there's Alfred. Alfred is adorable in this movie. He is funny, he is straight, and he is honest, which I love in this movie. Like, he feels like they can trust the turtles from the get-go, but he doesn't let Bruce, just sit around and do his own thing. He constantly reminds him that, like, you've got people behind you to work with you, to understand what you're doing, and you need to move forward with your scenario. And it's a beautiful thing. I love watching Alfred and Batman's. Alfred and Mikey is one of the coolest things about this movie. Their connection in this film is awesome. Brian George, who played Alfred, did a great job playing the animated series version of Alfred. He did a really good job. So that's the allies of both sides, of both the mutants and the bats. No Splinter in this movie. We get like a Chinese picture of Splinter, but Splinter's not in this movie, saving him for what will be a sequel. Which we're going to do a whole video talking about the post-credit scene to this movie later down the line when we get a little bit closer to Batman vs. TMNT 2. My brother hates the post-credit scene of this movie because I saw this coming. It was either going one way or the other, and it went the way I liked. I liked the way it went. It adds a whole new dynamic to this whole team here. So now we're going to get to the villains of Batman, which are the Rogues Gallery. But the main one is Ra's al Ghul. And Ra's al Ghul is Shredder in the Batman universe. It's just all there is to it. If you look at Shredder and Ra's al Ghul, they're the exact same thing. They are the leaders of ninja clans who will do anything for their leader and do whatever it takes to get the job done. And they're the ruthless fighters that love to fight Batman one-on-one in hand combat. It's ridiculous how much they're similar. I thought Ra's was really good in this movie. Shredder and Ra's kill a lot of people. And not just like off screen, like we see heads get decapitated, we see someone get punctured by Shredder's things. We see Raph punch a guy in the face and blood comes out. The villains in this movie are intense. Scarecrow has a fantastic scene in Arkham Asylum with Leonardo. Fantastic scene where he uses the fear gas on Leo, and Leo, in his fears, watches his brothers die in front of him, and you just see the Raph, Donnie, and Mikey just disintegrate into ash and soot, and it's all Leo's fault. There's a great scene with him and Batman fighting together and fighting against each other. So this is how the team split up in Arkham when we get to Arkham. It goes Raph, Mikey and Robin, Donnie and April, and then Leo and Batman. Makes sense. Leo and Batman fight Scarecrow. Donnie and Batgirl fight Bane. And then Raph, Mikey, and Robin get Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy, which the Poison Ivy jab was freaking hilarious. So Joker and Ra's had a deal in this movie where if Joker would give Ra's his venom serum, like the way to make it, he would give him the TCRI ooze to mutate all the inmates of Arkham, which is what happens. Bane becomes a cheetah, Ivy becomes a plant, Harley becomes a dog, Joker becomes a snake, and Scarecrow, becomes a crow, and Mr. Freeze becomes a polar bear. All really fitting and everything, but the funniest one's Poison Ivy, because they come into the room where Poison Ivy is, and she's trying to attack them with her hands, and when she tries, she's rooted into the ground, because she's a plant, so she can't move. So Mikey's like, walk around her. Raph's like, walk around her. It's really funny. So I have this next two categories separated as this: the best moments and the worst moments. I know it says moment, but I have multiple ones. I should have added the S. The best moments of this movie, I have two. Seeing the Batmobile and the Turtle Van next to each other is just awesome. Seeing these two iconic generational cars next to each other is fantastic. The entire third act does not disappoint. There are some fantastic action sequences throughout this movie, but the ending of this film really stands out. The fight between Batman and Shredder, the ongoing fights between all the henchmen and everybody else going on is fantastic. But that also leads to some of my worst moments of this movie. DC is not known for keeping animation constant when it comes to their films. When the action's going on, the animation is fluid. It goes really well with the pacing, and you can understand what's going on. When there's no fighting going on, the animation, like, it'll go really good for a minute and then just stop and then just keep going. Like, it breaks, and it's very noticeable in this film when it happens. When people die in this movie, like when Shredder stabbed the guy, it was a very like non thing that happened, but what happened like the so it was supposed to be like really fluid, but instead it went and I didn't. I expect it from DC though. The animation it doesn't always stay that fluent, but I thought it was overall it worked really well. So between the directing to the cast to some of the best moments of this film to some of the minor nitpicks with the animation, the mutants, the Bat family, the allies, and the villains, Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fully respects what it is, respects the people within the film, and understands just how to have a good old time at home watching a crazy animated film with turtles and bats and jokers and stuff in it. This is probably one of my favorite animated movies of the year up to this point. It's way better than Lego Movie 2. I don't think I would say that about Lego Movie, but Lego Movie 2 is just, I don't want to get into that. That's just a bad movie. And Batman vs. TMNT is my favorite animated film of the year as of right now. We'll wait till Lion King. I'm kidding. Until that comes out, my favorite movie of the year is still there, right there. Yeah, right there. So I give Batman vs. TMNT a solid 8.5 out of 10. Is this movie meant for children? Absolutely not. Unless your child is over, I guess, the age of 10, don't show it to them. Because your turtles cuss, your turtles hurt, and your turtles bleed. If it was just like a Batman movie, then I would be like, your choice your own. But children are currently watching Ninja Turtles on Nickelodeon with Rise of TMNT. We're not used to seeing the Turtles like this, so it's weird. Whereas with Batman, we've had multiple films where Batman fights things and bleeds and fights. The Dark Knight Returns. Hello. But the Turtles, it's weird. But, to each your own. If you want to watch it with your son and you want to enjoy it with them or your daughter, and just enjoy it as a family outing together, then by all means, go get it. It's currently $19.99 for full purchase on Google Play, and I think it'll be renting within the end of the week, so you can rent it for a little bit cheaper. I bought it because I was expecting to love it, and I truly do. It does not have it's not perfect. It has flaws, but overall, it's one of the better DC animated films currently on their slate, and I cannot wait to see it go on to the DC Universe Online app. That is my review of Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Thank you very much for watching this review with the Weekend Movie Bros. I am RZ Jones 18 from the RZ 18 Jones YouTube channel. I'll make sure to link my channel in the description down below. I'll make sure to link my brother's channel, Jacob's here, down in the description below. And I'll always make sure to come back with many other good videos coming to this channel